always unprepared. See, you start a second I'm not ready yet mentally. At least with a gig, you know when it's you kind of know when you're coming on.
Aye. I think you always need that. You need that first couple of miles, didn't you, just to ease yourself in.
Aye. Oh, it's doing running metaphors
there. Right away, aye. Right away.
Right, we're all rolling whenever you're ready.
So do you do the clap or do you do that now?
Yeah, well, we'll do one just for tradition.
Right. Right, so aye. Hello! Where am I looking? The cameras are there now, man. This is fucking weird. Because we've got a guest in today. Kris, it's our first ever guest.
We've made it!
We've done 5 million episodes. And nobody was touches because of the dark web stuff. Because of all the dodgy stuff the dark web would do, nobody would come near us. But now we found somebody on the dark web. So we've got Graham Connolly. Have I said that right?
Hello, yeah.
Hello, aye. So this is episode 6. And officially, this is our first guest on the bucket list. And the reason I got Graham is because, like, you've done... How many gigs you done, Graham? So Graham's a new comedian.
Yep.
Right, but that's not why I got him, because fuck getting new comedians on. Well, I'll get Stu, but Graham's got a bit of a story. So how many gigs you done?
I don't know. I've been going for just over a year.
A year?
I don't keep track.
Aye. So a lot of comedians like early on, they're like Rain Man.
Aye.
They go 25 gigs, died my whole 4 times. Well, I always say they've died their whole 4 times, but they've actually probably died their whole 14 times.
Aye.
But then
that week.
Aye. So you've done about a year.
Aye, about a year now.
Aye, going all right.
I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. That's what matters. I'm having fun.
Having fun, right?
It's fun. It's fun talking shite to people.
Aye, it's good, isn't it?
It's a dream.
And the reason I got Graham on, because where did I meet you, Graham? It wasn't actually that web in case the police are it.
Falkirk, it was a wine lab.
Oh, that's what it was,
Falkirk, and then...
So I was in there. Was it Deed? No.
No, it was alright. There was a few in,
aye.
No, it was alright, aye.
Because there was another gig I done after that. I was Deed, I think. I'm remembering that one.
I wasn't at that one. So
aye. So you must be the person that kind of brings people in then.
The goose that shat the golden egg.
I was alright. Who was on? Was a girl comparing it there?
Aye.
What was her name again?
Can't remember.
Right, so
it was a classic open night. Like, I'd arranged it through Alex, and then I turned up and Alex wasn't there, and the lassie that runs it with him, she was doing the night. She'd no idea I was coming.
Aye.
And just a classic open mic night. Just like, who the fuck are you? I'll squeeze you in.
I've been booked to this gig for 300 weeks.
Aye.
And there you go. Well, I've not got you on the list, you Bob.
It was alright, man. No, it was alright.
It was
a nice night.
I think we had about 12 in or something like that. I don't know, maybe 20 or something. I can't even remember. But
I think I was running about that. The only thing, the thing that sticks in my mind is the wee crazy woman at the front with the crutches, just sat herself. She was a maniac, man. Aye. But good to, like, if you were kind of struggling, just to turn back there and
right. You know she was a maniac, but she wasn't quite over. Sometimes not quite a pain in the arse.
No, she was just a bit fucking crazy looking.
Right.
You know what I mean? But chatty with it, nice and chatty.
An occasional get out of jail free card.
You need a chatty crazy person. You're just like, I'll just lean out here a wee bit. Aye, that always helps.
But sometimes, Kris, there's like there's that level. That level of crazy is all right, but there's a level where somebody's just a pain in the arse.
Aye.
If you poke them, they just. You know, it's like poking a wasp's nest. They're too much.
You verge her into the territory of being a bottle bag.
And in that, there's a point where you chuck them out.
I've only saw that once.
Aye.
I've only saw that. Well, like, borderline. No, in fact, last gig I did at Red Raw, a boy got chucked out.
Aye.
What
was that for?
Just being a prick.
Aye.
Not before I managed to get a wee clap for accusing him of wanking a cow. He's been a dick, and I was like, right, fuck it, I'm going for him, man. Aye. And then he got kicked out.
Alright, because there's heckling, which is good, right? You get heckled at music, Kris? Doesn't really happen as much at music, does it?
Occasionally, like by my mates, but no, not genuinely.
But music's different because you're kind of background, ain't you? People could chat when you're on stage, kind of thing. But with comedy, they actually listen. So there's a level of kind of heckling where people are part of it. Where there's the worst people are like Christmas nights out. Sometimes it's like cocaine takes over. So cocaine hecklers are a pain in the ass because they think they're funnier than the guy that's been doing it for years, and they're loud and they talk over every punchline. And when you're talking, they think it's a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So see if you're talking about, I don't know, a certain thing, they'll go, aye, well, I agree with you, but, and says, I'm not asking for your opinion, mate. I'm telling you material.
Aye.
But if somebody heckles at the right points, if it gets a laugh, but it's not killing punchlines,
Aye.
So there should be a heckling workshop.
I quite like hecklers, but because like they
Aye,
make
good hecklers.
they make the classic mistake of thinking that microphone shaped item in your hand is not a lightsaber.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
Aye.
It's just dead easy. You just fucking cut
Aye,
them
aye.
clean in two,
Ah,
man. It's
totally,
great. I love
aye,
taking the
aye.
legs away from
Aye,
somebody.
aye, fuck them, aye.
I got heckled once in Govan by a guy. He must have been late 70s and poor health. Looked as though he'd maybe a wee bit of a drinking problem.
No way, a 7-year-old from Govan with a drinking problem.
What's the chances?
Honestly, you wouldn't
Probably
think it.
not much, because usually most of them don't make it to 70.
Aye, he's an
Well,
anomaly.
this guy had like a pair of crutches
He
and
must
that.
be the wise one.
His phone went off just as I was delivering my very last line.
Oh, man.
And like I was like, and I kind of mentioned it, and he just, I don't know, poor guy, he must have been embarrassed or something like that. But he kind of just lost the plot, and then this old guy in the middle of this gig storming up, threatening to bar me with his crutches. It was horrendous,
Fucking
man.
hell.
But you're like, what do you say? And
Aye.
I don't know. I was like, no, I don't know. I was just like, peg me with it or something. I don't know what I said. I'm not sure.
I know.
But it was very uncomfortable, man. It wasn't a great heckle. It wasn't
Aye,
brilliant.
that's part of the experience, isn't it?
Well, that's it, man. There's no bad gigs, is there? There's just experience and learning.
I don't know if I mentioned this last week, Chris. There was I always kind of try not to repeat things, but sometimes sometimes I like mental hecklers like that, and it's a different way of dealing with it. There's a guy called Paul Perry, right? Don't know if you've ever heard of him. Right, he's from Dundee. He lives in London now, and he still is. He's a legend, right? He used to he doesn't drink anymore for a good reason, right? I had some great nights with him, but he was brilliant with hecklers and madness. He was one of these mental comedians, but he was also funny as fuck.
Aye.
So there was a gig in Edinburgh, right? I wasn't there, but I heard about it, and it was in Leith Walk somewhere, and there was a load of Hibs casuals in. Right, so the gig was like in a bar, right? So it was in a bar, and there was a pool table, and there was no separate room. And these guys, there's a few comedians on doing a gig, and it was full of Hibs casuals, and they were fucked, right? The Hibs casuals were just threatening them and shit, and just like they weren't heckling or like we're going to stab you kind of shit, right? And just like it was like one of the tough gigs. Like, that old guy would have been fine compared to these cunts. And this guy Paul Perry, apparently one of the Hibs casuals had him pinned to a pool table by the neck.
Wow.
At one point. But Paul Perry was fucking comedy genius. And while this guy was pinned to the neck, while Paul was pinned to the neck at the pool table, Paul still had his microphone in his hand. And while he was getting pinned, threatened, Paul was still ripping the piss out of the guy. He's, look at you, you big ugly bastard, just roasted him. And eventually the guy went, you're fucking mental, let him up. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of level of kind of commitment to comedy that I love.
Aye.
He could have got stabbed, but the guy just thought, you're a fucking maniac.
That's not bad, joking your way out of doing.
Aye, fucking hell.
Buy a Hibs casual.
Buy a Hibs casual. I think that's why most comedians do it. They can barely do the skill, they kind of stop them getting hit a lot.
Aye. You need a shite childhood to be funny.
Aye. Sorry, you brought back the trauma. Anyway, so the reason, Chris, I got on, so I got you on the day, right? Because it's the fuck it list, and and I met you. I kind of got chatting to you. I didn't really chat to you much in Falkirk. No reason why. I didn't think that guy looks like a dick. I'm not chatting to him. I just didn't. I don't know. I got chatted briefly, but I got to know you a bit better in Hamilton, I think.
Aye. That would have been it. Aye.
I mean, I've only met you a couple of times, but when I spoke to you in there and we started chatting about running, like, because I think at the time, was I training for the marathon?
You were, I think you were, was it Edinburgh? You were
Edinburgh. Well, I say, like this year, I say training, hadn't done much training at all this year. I more or less walked most of that one night, but I was talking to you, and the reason I could have gone well with you, because your comedy was good. I thought you had a good bit of comedy as well, but then you started chatting. You were this guy's an ultra runner. Did I tell you that, Chris?
You did, aye.
Did I? So you've ran like 100 miles, 200 miles and shit.
I did a fastest known time once, and it was 240 miles. That's the furthest I've done.
Fucking amazing.
Aye.
So like we'll start like I feel as if I'm being like James English. Let's get back to the beginning. That's what he does, isn't it? So how did you get into that? How did you how did you start getting into the running? So what's your thing? It fascinates me that it's actually on my bucket list to be able to do a 100-miler at some point.
Aye.
Like getting a decent marathon again after last year's my first goal, but then to do like an ultra, maybe a 50 first.
See, in many ways, a marathon is more difficult because, like, a marathon, you're like you're running for 26 miles, which is hard. But
I was running for 26 miles. I hit the wall at 3 miles this year. I was shit.
But like with an ultra is basically, especially if it's like a hilly ultra on trails, it's basically just like an eating and jogging competition, man, which is my kind of day.
You're talking my language.
Aye, honestly, like that.
Here's what you think this guy was like an ultra running bar. He's full of shit. He just went for a walk.
I'm above average, decently running and eating and jogging. Especially the eating bit, not so much the jogging. But a marathon, you need to run a lot, man, which fucking sucks. Like ultra marathon runners, like they live in fear of like 10Ks and half marathons.
Really?
Oh, I fucking hate them. Hate them.
Aye.
Give me like a wee meandering trail and then a wee hill I can walk up eating a fucking cheese sandwich or something. Maybe not a kebab, aye. But so I when I was younger, I started off. I was down in England actually on a course. I was living down there, and a pal of mine's like, here, there's this thing. Have you ever heard it before? Cage fighting. I can't mind what they called it at the time. Wasn't it cage fighting then? And
MMA. No, that's.
It wasn't even MMA yet.
Did it change all the time? It was MMA now, but it was cage fighting then.
Oh, it's fucking all over the place.
So you get the cage fighting, aye?
Well, my pal's just, he'd done a bit of Thai boxing. He's like, Mo, do you want to go and do this? And in the spirit of the podcast, I was like, aye, fuck it. Aye, let's try it. So we fired to
there.
He said it. I need guest headphones. Every time somebody says fuck it, we've got a wee clip of Peter Griffin going, he said it.
Oh, right, okay.
I felt sorry for him. He was missed out there. We'll get you headphones.
I'm going to see how many times I can shoehorn it in now.
Shoehorn what in?
Fuck it.
He said it. He hates it, by the way.
Fucking fuck this shit.
Right, goodies away. Job done, Chris. Just you and me.
Did you Did you actually have this planned? Like you actually said, hint to Obie, you want to do the podcast, then we'll get up to fuck.
This has been the plan.
Right, where were we? We've digressed.
Aye, so cage fighting.
Down in England, cage fight went away and get in and done this thing. Valley Judo, that's what they called it.
Valley Judo.
Valley Judo.
Is this just another name for cage fighting?
I think it's like Brazilian or something, but it's like Valley Judo is very different, man. It's just two big steroided guys like just kicking fuck at each other. It's a lot less technical. So we went and tried this and it was alright. And I think the byproduct was I ended up getting like my elbow fucking snapped or something. I thought that was alright. Well, I was in this fight and this grappler guy like put me in an arm bar, like, and I didn't know what any of these things were. And like apparently if like you'd had enough you were to tap, but I hadn't been doing it long enough, and the guy that was coaching us, he hadn't thought to tell us that. So I'm like getting my arm bent back. And I heard it all, like all the tendons and sinew and all that ripping. And like, I just squealed, and then the referee, he realised that my arm didn't bend.
Surely squealing is the equivalent of tapping.
I was kind of like screaming, The referee's like, I think the referee kind of realised this boy doesn't know he's meant to tap the gun, right? I'm just... But anyway, So that was it, and then I came up the road, and there was a few boys, I didn't really know them yet, but there was a few boys I knew of at home, and they were getting into this MMA thing as well, and then that was it, man. We were all cage fighters a couple of years later, and we tied in with some boys in Glasgow, and like it grew arms and legs, man. And there's like we ended up with like this fight team. It was like DNFT, Dinky Ninja Fight Team.
Dinky Ninja Fight Team, aye.
It's a great name, isn't it? Like this, there's like this gang, the Dinky, and they're up Bruce Hill. And we used to hire the Bruce Hill Leisure Centre once a week to go and kick fuck at each other. And then that was it. My mate's big brother, he just came out, fucking Dinky Ninjas are away up Bruce Hill tomorrow night again training. That was it. It just stuck, and then it became the Dinky Ninja Fight Team and then DNFT. And it kind of just exploded. We ended up with this big fight team that basically just kind of dragged in most of the fighters in Scotland. And there's gyms all over the place now, fucking clothing ranges and all that. Massive. I would say probably most of the Scottish fighters you saw in the UFC at some point have trained or are trained by. They've got some sort of DNFT lineage.
Alright, so you're part of the start of it. They just kind of grew.
Well, I think I was the learning how not to do it phase.
I
knew they're a wee bit more polished now. You know what I mean?
That's a bit like comedy. Start off, you've got no idea what you're doing, and eventually get a few laughs. Probably like music as well, Chris, had it?
Aye.
Start off, you're going, what the fuck am I doing?
I started in school, so it was like everyone watching me was forced to clap, which was quite handy. But then I got out into the real world, into the pubs. And I played into the back of people's heads, and things changed.
Just rude.
I know.
Just rude. So where was I, man? I was like, cage fighting, and then I done some boxing in the Navy and stuff, and then
you're in the Navy as well,
aye. I'm a submariner.
What's that mean? You drive submarines?
I don't drive. I do like the engineering type stuff.
Alright, aye.
I fix reactors basically. That's my job. Or I watch other people fix reactors.
So where did you work? Did you work BAE systems?
No, I'm doing Faslane. I'm like proper in the Navy, man.
You still in it? Alright. I
don't go away anymore.
So where is Faslane again? That's
Helensburgh.
Helensburgh. So that's where they keep the submarines?
Helensburgh's so posh. There's so much money in Helensburgh that they went and parked a fleet of submarines there to protect the place.
Alright.
I mean, that's how rich Helensburgh is. Where the fuck was I going there, man? So I did a bit of boxing in the Navy, and then I kind of I was about 6 or 7 years into it, and you get a shelf life when you're doing combat sports. And if you just keep hanging in there, man, you just end up.
So football's and all, innit?
Take a lot of damage.
So what's the kind of age, that highest age as a combat fighter? Like 30s?
I don't know. I'd say it's a 20-something sport.
20-something sport,
It's a 20-something sport. You get like a few.
I'm 50. I was going to take it up, man.
No, I think you'd be fine, man. Maybe past your peak.
Fuck you. Don't tell me I'm past my peak. You and McGregor, if you're out there, fucking bring it on, you Irish prick.
Right, that's on my bucket list.
You and McGregor.
He's just called. I reckon I can take you and McGregor. I was like, I wouldn't say Conor McGregor, but fuck that, he kicked my cunt.
He's just called out Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You don't watch Star Wars, have you? Pretty fucking handy, man.
You and McGregor, bring it on, you cunt. We'll do a remake of Trainspotting. Right.
Right, where was we? So fucking dragging this out, innit?
I want to bat a fuck out of you and McGregor now. That's on my fucking list.
Let's book him on the podcast.
Right.
I kind of sacked all the fighting and stuff, and see when you look like this, you know what I mean? You're sitting thinking,
you're gorgeous, mate. Stop it.
You get a point, you just need to look after the moneymaker. You know what I mean?
I mean, don't start to get battered about a wee bit of that. Your nose is alright, is it? Like,
it depends which side you look at. I sacked the fighting off, and I just ended up with a bit of hole because it becomes like a bit of a family. You know what I mean? And it takes over your life and stuff, and then you're suddenly just doing hee-haw. And I was still kind of trained doing it at the gym and all that, but I was still, I'm thinking missing. You weren't a part of something anymore. And then I was away at sea, and I did a wee run, and I was a boy there, and he's like, I did a half marathon. I was like, fucking 13 mile, man.
That's fucking
blew my mind. And I thought, right, fuck it. I'm going to do it when I get back. So it was weird. I got back. And I says to my brother, I want to do a half marathon. He's like, I'm doing the Glasgow one. I was like, no way. So we did that, and then we did it the following year. And then I was out running one day, and I saw this wee hill, and I thought, I'm just going to go up there, and it was all muddy and dirty, and it was fucking wonderful. Because all the running I'd been doing before was like running fucking Kunstler Estates and doing by Asda and running a park and all that, but just pish.
A few laps around Asda.
Fucking terrible. A lot of people are like, I went out a run the other day and I hate running, and running's pish. Running's no pish, man. It's the running you're doing is pish. But I went up this hill.
He's judging my running, Chris.
My running's even more.
We've spoken about this before, mate. But it's like, I went up this hill and it was all dirty and muddy, and I walked up most of it, and then, but I was running along this hill and I had a great view. and it was all wet and shitey, and then I was running down this muddy hill and I was slipping and falling. It was fucking brilliant.
Aye.
Oh, what a difference.
See, I've not done much of that, but I probably need to get some advice off you for that.
A different sport. It's a different sport altogether, man.
And I suppose the hills and that are harder, so I'm kind of doing flat, kind of slightly hilly, but my level of fitness isn't that good to know, so...
But that's the thing, you walk the hills.
Aye.
It's not as much about, see once you're out on trails and hills and all that, it's not as much about running, it's more about being out there. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
And so I did this, and I actually got at the top of the hill and I ran a wee bit, and I took a picture and I was bogging, and I sent it to my brother, and I was like, we're missing out, we need to do this, man. This is what we're doing, fuck the canal. And that was us, we became trail runners, and then I just tied in with a boy for the gym. And
so you were at yourself that day when you kind of got into it?
Just do it, and I got all muddy in that, and then me and my brother, we went out, and then we went out up the hills together, and it was like walk, jog, run, eat. This is fucking gallus. And then we tied in with a boy. We decided, again, we were just like, right, fuck it, let's we did Tough Mudder or something like that, right? Because it's like the toughest thing in the planet. But turns out it's no. And,
he's dissing Tough Mudder.
Commercial bullshit. No to judge him that's done Tough Mudder, well done.
They're going to rebrand it.
I'll take
Moderate Mudder.
Chris,
fucking
I'm just taking Tough Mudder off my bucket list because she's dissed it.
Aye.
Oh well.
It's effectively what Jonglers is to comedy. Do you know what I mean? It's just fast food bullshit. So we did this Tough Mudder, and then we were like, do you know what? Right, let's go and let's just run the West Highland Way. So we decided to run it over 3 days, and that was us. We were trail runners then, but it just so.
So is it about running, walking over 3 days, or did you kind of run most of it?
Oh no, I was fucking probably walking most of it, man. I think the first 26 miles or something took us about 10 hours or something like that.
You stopped for a pint and stuff like that on the way.
Not as much drinking, but there was a lot of stopping and walking and jogging. And but that's the thing, man. You just need to take your time because you'll make yourself sick of it. But we'd met this boy who did all this ultra thing. He was actually running the West Highland Way race, which was the full thing in the one day. And this purely by coincidence fell on the Saturday.
So how many miles is it the one day?
96.
96.
Aye, so this race just purely by coincidence fell on the day we were the Saturday we were out, and my pal was there and went down, and we saw him getting by, and he was like in the top 10, and we were like, fuck me, man, these people had just done in about 5 hours or something like that. It took us like 10 hours the day before, and then they had another 30 odd mile a day or 60 odd mile a day, and then the rest of the day we were on the West Highland Way with all these people in this race, and like we were just totally submerged in the middle of it. We felt like we were part of it. And then that was it. It was kind of like, right,
you get hooked.
This is what we're doing, So a couple of months, in fact, like a month later, I signed up for my first ultra in the August, and then my brother signed up for one in October. And then it was a bit like the cage fighting. It just snowballed from there, man. And running's this kind of thing. Like, see, once you become a runner, because you need to spend a period of time, it's just like a couple of years of consistently turning up. You need to spend a period of time becoming a runner. But see, once it does, it just infects every single aspect of your body and your life, you know what I mean? It just seeps its way into everything, but it's wonderful. You know, it's wonderful. So that's how I get into ultra running.
So see, you're saying there, you know, the kind of the feeling you get and all that. I remember, like, because nobody talks to me about running. See, if I talk about running, my fitness level's crap now, but it's getting better, and you start to get that wee buzz again.
And
I remember, right, this is a specific thing I remember. Like 3 years ago, I was in Australia, right. And like I had a good time, but for some reason I wasn't that happy at the time, right? Which is like a wee sad. So I was all right. I was all right. I had a good time. I was doing the festival over there in Perth, and I was kind of and I was putting photos up. I was in the beautiful beach. There's all these beaches, and the scenery was amazing. I was taking all these photos. It was like 40 degrees. It was too hot for me, but it was just all these people going, "Oh, fucking hell, that's amazing." And I was having an alright time, but I was kind of, I don't know why, I just felt a wee bit hang. I mean, and I remember a few months after that, I was out running a lot. And like, see, like, and I just remember a specific time. I was out running, I'd been out running a few months. And you know that bit when you're unfit, it takes ages to get to a level where I can actually run a few kilometres without stopping. So I could probably do 3 or 4 kilometres an hour without stopping, so I'm kind of getting there. So I kind of got this point. Do you know that point when you're running and you just go out, you start running, you feel your breathing's just in sync.
Mm-hmm.
You know that bit. It's for a while, like you're blowing out your ass. You run a bit, you go. You're like a fucking it's like a nuisance phone call. You're kind of out your ass, but then one day it just happens, and it usually happens after you've done a few miles, and then you get to a bit, you just start running, and everything goes in sync. Your pace and your breathing just sync up. And you're just running as if you're walking, and it's just...
You just get to that point that the oxygen you're burning is going through your lungs as quick as you're using it. You're just basically oxygen, you're just hit equilibrium. And then that's it. That's kind of the point where you just hit that sweet spot. And it's just sweet spot.
So now, at the moment, I'm getting that a wee bit, but not enough. But I remember this point, like, I think it was maybe a year after I was in... maybe months after I was in Australia... And I was running between the back of Christon and Moodiesburn. Like, you don't know, it's a wee road. It's not like one of your kind of cool roads. It's like a wee back road. So it's got in between a normal road and the ones you're talking about. A wee back road between Christon and Moodiesburn. And I was running and I just hit this kind of pace. And I just got this kind of... It was like a euphoria kind of thing. I was like, fucking hell, I feel amazing. And I remember at that point, I was running this back road for about half an hour. I was like, I feel a lot better here than I did when I was in Australia, and I was outside Moodiesburn.
So that see when you're running, like you're damaging yourself, you're hurting yourself, and what your body does is like it just starts to release endorphins.
Aye,
and it's basically just as I think it's like a form of painkiller or something. It's just to keep you going. And it just makes you feel good.
Aye,
and it does, man. And like that, see that when you feel good, and then you've got that oxygen equilibrium when you're just kind of you're absorbing as much as you're burning, man. That's just I don't know, you hit like that stage of flow or something like that. You know what I mean? I term it as like taking your head for a shit, because like you get through that first couple of miles and then your body just all loosens off and everything starts to feel natural, and you just all these thoughts and feelings and all that just get processed through your brain, and then you get to a point you've just emptied all the shite out your head, your body feels good. And then it's just that flow, man. That's a sweet spot. I guess
sometimes when I'm out running, I like my fitness is getting a wee bit better. It's still frustrating because it's taken a while, because it's been a while, but you know, it's always the first few miles I'm out there, I've got like, how am I no fitter? I've been doing this for months, but then after I've done an hour or maybe about half an hour, it kind of kicks in a wee bit. You know, and I go, fucking hell,
everybody starts too quick as well. See, when you're fresh and like you've got caffeine in you and you're like fucking, you've been fueled and stuff, you're like, you feel great and you start and you're running quick for about maybe the first half mile. Then reality kicks in, and then after like about 2 or 3 miles, you kind of hit a reality pace, you know what I mean? And then that's it. It's all right then. Start slower.
That's what I've learned for you, right? Because like I was speaking to you recently about it. Because I was asking you for your advice and all that, because I was like, I've started running again and I'm fucking blowing out my arse, man. And I was like, slow down. And I was always, when I was a bit fitter a few years ago, I would go out quite fast. But then I was like, all right, slow down. And I've been doing that, and that's helping.
Patience and consistency, man.
And really slowing down, but so I've got to a pace, but then I know that I'll run out of steam after a few miles, but if I slow down, I can do a wee bit longer.
You're better jogging like 3k or something like that consistently than like running a solid first K and then just feeling like shit and walking the rest, you know? Like patience and consistency, man.
Totally, I'm getting there. So I'm doing about 3 or 4 days a week now, and it's getting there slowly but surely. And I'm going to win the Edinburgh Marathon next year.
Course record.
So I'm going to beat 2 hours.
Right. World record.
So my best time so far is 4 hours 12 minutes.
Right, okay.
But I'm going to take 2 hours 17 minutes, 2 hours 12 minutes off my personal best. Last year was 6 hours 27 minutes because I walked most of it because I had to walk the 3 miles. So I'm going to take 4.5 hours that off last year.
When is the Edinburgh Marathon?
So it's in May, the end of May.
It's going to be tight, but I think that's completely doable.
So I'd like to beat 4 hours. So that's my real target. You know, if I beat 4 hours, good. But at least if I beat 4.5, but I'd like to beat 4 hours. But I know it's going to take a bit of work.
But it might not be this time as well. You know what I mean? Like that getting that 4 hour marathon, like a lot of people are kind of like black and white, ones and zeros in it. And if you do that marathon, you want to do 4 hours, and then if you don't, you failed. But
no,
it might take 3, it might take 4 marathons. But I think it's a long term target.
I'm not really like it's a target, but I don't give a shit. I just want to be fit enough. Like last year, like I done 6 hours 27 minutes because that, you know, it's like I just wasn't fit for the marathon. I genuinely hit the wall at 3 miles. You know, it was walking, running a wee bit. My hand went numb at one point. I was like, oh fuck, I'm going to take a heart attack or something here. And it was just a nightmare. I got there and I was quite proud of myself for doing it. Because before, about a week before, I was going to go, I'm going to cancel this because I'm a fucking idiot. I didn't need to put the work in. But then I thought, fuck it, let's do it. Just finish it to give myself a challenge. I've actually finished it without training. And then because the shame of that shite time has pushed me a wee bit, so I actually started training like June and July. So I ran quite a lot in June and July. August was because the Edinburgh Festival, because that was a month of drinking and eating shite. Didn't do much in September, but I've been back doing it kind of October, November, so I'm doing all right.
Good man, good.
So I'm going to beat 1 hour.
The Kenyans are going to start getting jealous.
They'll be raging, man. Last few Scottish guys like fucking they're going to have a hat out on me.
They'll all be moving to Moodiesburn.
It's the altitude.
The magic altitude and Moodiesburn Council water.
It's that wee corner between Christon and Moodiesburn. All the Kenyans will start running down there. And this is it. This is where the magic is.
That'll be the new rift.
There's a magic kind of portal round there. They kind of go through or something like that. Aye. So have you actually done a marathon then?
I've never ran a marathon. No. I did like a flat, fast 33-mile race once.
So how long did that take you? What's your time for that?
But 3.
Fucking hell,
3:30 or something.
3:30 for a 33-miler.
Something like that.
That's fucking good, isn't it?
I went through the marathon in like 2:58.
Aye, so you're basically a sub 3 hour marathoner.
But that was the race plan. That was the plan. Like just run a touch under a 3 hour marathon, and then in the last 7 miles, just
so you reckon that's just years and years of running that you've got to that kind of level?
Oh, aye. I started in like 2014, 2015.
Really? So what age are you, Graham?
I'm I need to think about it. I'm 43.
43, aye.
Aye, 43, man.
What are you, Chris, again? You're
26.
Fucking young bastard, man.
I've been coached for a lot of that time.
Aye.
Which is a huge help. It's a huge difference.
So you started running at 43? No, sorry. What age were you?
33.
33?
Something like that.
I was similar. So my first marathon, I was 36.
Aye, okay, aye.
So
a lot of people in their kind of mid to late 30s come to running.
Aye. But there's people start later.
Aye. Oh, definitely.
I spoke to a guy and I looked like fucking. See, the first marathon I ran was 36, which was 5 years ago. Right, that was, so it was like, but that day, right, and this inspires me because running's for any age. And there was a guy that day, you might have heard him because you're into running. A Sikh guy, that day. So like when I was 30, so 14 years ago, there was a 98-year-old ran it.
Aye.
An old Sikh guy, and this guy. His wife died when he was in his 70s. So to kind of help him out with his depression and get over like the grief and all that, he went out running. He started running, and then he's done like fucking hundreds of marathons.
Good on him. And
he was still running half marathons in his hundreds. Now, I don't know if he's still alive now, but apparently like he's still doing halves in his hundreds.
Aye.
But his times were shite, but that's not the point. But he probably still would have beat my 6 hours 27 minutes last year.
He probably didn't take that long to do
he probably didn't take that. But he was still running in his hundreds, and I think he might still be alive. He's 112 or something. I'm not sure.
He is. That's exactly right.
What's his name?
Fauja Singh.
Aye, is he still alive?
Yeah, 112.
Fucking amazing.
Are you like stalking this guy?
Aye,
that was a wee like, I think he might be 112. He's bang on 112.
Right, he does like stalking pish.
So I know so he lives in London. I think he still walks every day. So don't he's quite. So he walks for miles every day.
Right. So he's got lazy.
Lazy.
Tell me.
Yeah. Have you? What's his name?
Fauja Singh.
So Fauja Singh, if you're out there, you're a lazy old cunt. Get your figure out, man.
It's just that he's 110s and he's resting
I
his laurels.
I know. I'm 110, you lazy bastard. And I think it's just amazing, people at that age. And this year, I met a guy, like, see the Edinburgh Marathon, I love it because the atmosphere, there's just thousands of people there, you've got a crowd that cheer you on, and the points when you're fucked and you're kind of going, fuck, I can't do this. There's people cheering you on. But I spoke to a guy at the start of the run. The guy must have been in his 60s, right? And he was like, now with the marathon, he had a low number. So that means he's one of the elites.
He's good.
So what they basically, you pick a time and they put you in a certain pen. So I picked like 4.5 hours this year, right?
Aye.
That was before I hadn't done any training, and then so everybody's overtaken me at one point. He was in a few pens at the start. I was like, fucking hell, mate, what time you going for? I was like, I'm going for a sub 3 hours. And he was like 60.
Aye.
And I was alright. So he took a picture of my number because what you could check in people. I was alright. I got a wee photo with the guy and I checked and he was like, he'd done like 250 odd.
Aye.
And this guy apparently he started running in his 40s, mid 40s.
See if you're consistently training, you're living well is important as well. Like, you can run as much as you want, but see if you're not sleeping well and hydrating yourself and eating well, you're swimming against the tide. You've got to live the life as well if you want to be fast. But then there's like that's a thing like where I think a lot of people make a mistake. They get into running and they get fixated by times and paces, and even when they get into ultra running, they get fixated by distances. But like I don't know. Like, see if people went and concentrated more on like getting themselves to a point like they can run a certain race and have a good experience. And fuck the time. Fuck the time. And like, because I was like, I wanted to be competitive for quite a while, and I done all right in my own wee sphere, but it wasn't always enjoyable. Do you know what I mean? And as soon as I went and says like, do you know what? I'm not really that. I don't know. You're fucking looking for validation or something. But once I got to that point, like, do you know what? I'm kind of past that now.
You're doing it for you.
Aye. What a difference! Like, just.
And I bet you got better times and stuff with that attitude, did you?
All the best performances I've had is races I've went into where I've not been interested in winning.
Right, that's good. I like that. I like that philosophy. It's like
because you sit back and you don't overcook it, and it's dead easy to do that. But all the ones I've been like, right, I want to win this, or I want to be on the podium, or you set yourself a clear thingy. You usually fuck it up in the first half.
And that kind of happens with comedy or anything, right? So see if you're on stage. I'm going to fucking smash this. Right, you're going with that attitude, you come across as egotistical, arrogant.
You're holding on too tight.
Whereas if you go, I'm doing this because I love it. So people going competitive, they go, I want to get here, I want to do that club, I want to get to this, I want that agent, blah, blah, blah. But if they've got all these goals in their head, they're in their gig, but in their head they're going, but I want this, what's this going to get me? It takes their focus off the gig, and then their performance is shite.
Do you know what I find it hard in gong shows? So seeing you've got gong shows, you're like, I've got 5 minutes to smash this. And you go out holding on tight. I never do in gong shows because...
Whereas if you go in a gong show, I don't give a fuck if I get gonged off. I'm just going to have a laugh. Like, you can't take a gong show seriously, but I've seen the best acts, headliners going on doing it.
Getting busted.
And a wee guy that's only done like 5 gigs winning it. The audience can just take to that guy.
It's a good evener, isn't it? It's a good evener, definitely.
A guy that's headlining all the big clubs comes on, thinks, the money's mine, comes on, gong, because the 3 people with the cars just don't like him. But then one wee guy, they just take to him.
I actually saw that the other weekend there was a gong show, and I'm not going to say it wasn't a great crowd, but it wasn't a great crowd.
Never blame the crowd, mate.
There was an Irish boy who came on, and he did well, and we were sitting thinking like he's a winner, man. And I think it was like the penultimate act. And you've met wee Mick Mac before, haven't you? Wee young boy 18 and that. It's fucking
Mick Mac. I don't know him. No.
If you clocked his face, you'd know him. You'll have seen him at a night somewhere. But he's a great wee guy, man. And he was doing his bit and stuff. And it was this guy from Northern Ireland, and he was doing a thing about, I can't remember what it was. Something about being from Northern Ireland and getting in the car or something like that. And it just on this one joke, like, and I bet I bet that's exactly how his girlfriend feels getting in the car every time he's been driving it before her, because he's like a fucking terrorist, obviously. And he just blew the room away, and on that one joke, that was it. He just won the night, man. That one joke, and he just won the night, man. It was brilliant.
That's how they work. It's good. What was thinking there? I love that attitude of enjoying the moment.
Yep.
You know, because that's what you were talking about last week, Chris, wasn't it? We're just saying like this podcast is kind of going, like, although I kind of doing it. Well, I'm doing it because I want to do more things I enjoy as well. And there's a kind of end goal that I want to build my audience a bit more, to build an audience for gigs. But at the same time, I do it because we enjoy doing it.
Yep.
I get guests on. I get to meet people. I've met you a few times, but learn from people that I can admire a wee bit. People that have done stuff like you. You know, people that run fucking 200 milers and all that shit. You know, I think it's just a thing I enjoy. So you're enjoying every wee stage, and whether I get anywhere with it, don't give a shit. I'm enjoying it, and know who I like. Right, that this is but see, when you mentioned that, you take away the competitiveness, but because of that, you get better. Your results are better. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Right, okay.
Right. So see, like, I don't know if you like snooker, Chris.
I watch the odd wee clips, but I don't really follow it.
So you don't really follow it. So Ronnie O'Sullivan's he's like been the top of his day. He's been the top player for 30 years, right? And he's fucking brilliant, right? And the reason he's kept at the top, because he genuinely, like, he wants to win, but he doesn't give a shit if he wins or not. So he wants to go and play snooker well. So it's like, I want to go on and enjoy the kind of enjoy the game with the crowd, entertain the crowd, have a good game, and because he's enjoying the moment, enjoying the game, winning is a kind of a side effect. So it's the same with comedy. Like, fuck it, I'm going to enjoy every gig, and as a side effect, you get kind of things happen.
I think it just depends if you're looking at stuff as like a means to an end because you want to get to a certain destination or achieve a certain thing, or if you just sit and think this is just this one-off opportunity to have a good experience. And if you're more relaxed if you look at it the latter, I imagine. So
I like the idea of because I have got goals. So it's like, so I've kind of got, right, it's like, so I'm pointing in a direction, right, rough direction, but then if you're only focused on that, so it's like, so I like the idea I kind of got, right, you've got a goal, but kind of a point there, but then go, fuck it, but I don't give a shit about that now. I'm going to enjoy every wee bit on the way. So whether I get there or no is irrelevant. Hopefully I do, but enjoying all the wee bits, doing the podcast, doing the gigs, doing the videos.
If you're just focused on something, going towards it, fair enough. But if you're not enjoying anything on the way past, what's the point? Because you might not even get there.
And if you don't get there, it's cool. But you know, because I've had people say to me, right, like fucking Obie, you've been doing comedy for 20 odd years. You know, should you gear up because you're no like on the telly? And I was like, well, no, because I'm doing something I fucking love. I get to do maybe 100 to 150 gigs a year that I fucking love every minute. I love doing gigs for like 100 people in Edinburgh Festival. Sometimes there's like fucking 3 people there. I love every gig, so I get to reach a goal 100 and odd times a year. And it's a bit like you, like every run you do is kind of like a goal. Or even me, even when I'm out running, if I get up, I can't be arsed to go, fuck it, you go out and do like a few miles. It's a goal. You've reached the goal, so you get to experience that goal while you're getting to that end goal, which you think they imagine it. Have you ever got to an end goal of something you think, fuck, is that it?
Aye. But it's dead easy to look at other people and just like you look at what they're doing and you're like, well, they've no reached this target or this. You know what I mean? And like, aye. If you're that wired, that's your lens, isn't it? And you're going to look at everybody else like that. But nah, man, it's more about the individual.
Aye, so it's good to have goals. So I read Steve Martin's book. I think I mentioned this before, but this is a wee thing that I got in Steve Martin's book. Right, it's a good book for comedy. See if you listen to Audible.
Aye.
So Steve Martin's book, so Born Standing Up. So it's just his kind of stand-up journey, and he talks about the starting off. Be doing gigs in cafes where nobody's there, but the management tell him to do his show anyway. So basically, he's in this cafe and there's nobody. It's just him doing a show himself. And the guy says, like, we've paid you. do the gig. I says, but there's no audience. We'll do it anyway, so that if somebody's walking by, they see there's something on. So Steve Martin, who's like fucking megastar, he's doing a gig in this cafe, like to nobody. Eventually, maybe people will trickle in. So he talks about his whole journey from doing shitty wee gigs to nobody until he's doing these fucking stadiums.
Yeah,
like doing stadiums. He was one of the first comedians to do stadiums. And he said when they started doing stadiums, he felt disconnected with it because he got too big. And at the end of the book, what he says is he's famous as fuck. He can't walk anywhere because he's Steve Martin. And he walks past a cafe where he started, like doing his first kind of maybe 50 seaters. And he went, that's when I was fucking happy. That's when it was good. And get to the destination is not that it was brilliant. They made him millions and all that, but this is the shit. I forgot to enjoy these bits. You know, so
I can actually. I think I've saw. Is it twice or three times? I've saw Kevin Bridges in the
stand
in the in the Hydro.
Oh right.
And I was like Aberdeen, Scotland, huge fucking Kevin fan.
Aye.
And then I was lucky enough one night. I was in Red Raw. And big Kev IN just fucking popped up.
Aye.
And see the difference. Like, watch him on the stage and like the Hydro and stuff's wonderful, super duper funny. But see when you see him in the stand, man, you can in that thing, that connection.
Because that's his home.
Oh, you can see the difference. I've been lucky. I saw him twice in the stand now, in both times.
Aye.
It was. I think it's like the closest you'll ever come to just sitting in a house party, listening to his patter. Do you know what I mean? And after, I actually saw him in the stand on the Tuesday and went to the Hydro on the Wednesday, and I'd have fucking went to the stand gig again in a heartbeat, man. It was only on for about 20 minutes, but it was wonderful, and it was just because he was just having a chat with the people there. You know what I mean? It was lovely.
You seen him in Blackfriars a few weeks ago?
I was saying that just a few weeks ago. Like, it was just before he went off to Australia.
Well, I was doing Red Raw the night before or the week before, and I came off and he was stood at the fire exit, and the only place to stand was right next to him. So I'm like standing next to Kevin Bridges, and I'm like pure fanboying, man. I'm like, don't look at him, You're going
don't touch him, don't touch him.
Don't look at him. And he just sat there, cool as fuck.
He's a good guy, man. He's all right.
But like, and I'm like, fuck, I'm in the green room. He's going to go in the green room. And I'm just like pure fanboy. Like, I'm going to get a selfie with Bridges, right? Like, that's it. I'm gearing up comedy.
Kiss him.
Honestly, man, I've won comedy. I'm gearing in. But then, like, and I'm going to get to chat to him and all that. And after I saw it was fucking Gallus. And then we were watching the next act, and he just took his phone out of his pocket. And the fuck knows what his phone says, man. And then that was it. It was like fucking, I need to go, and he fucked off. I was devastated.
So did he actually come on then?
It was actually, was
he not on that night then?
He had to go, he had to leave. I don't know what happened. It was like about 9 o'clock on Halloween. So I can only assume he's maybe got like a message off his wife or something like that, and it's like, right, Halloween's done, put the stuff up in the loft and get the Christmas stuff done. You need to come home. That was it, man.
But I think it must have been the night after then. I think it was the 1st of November I seen him.
I think it straight after.
Because it was going. I think it was the day or two after I saw him. He went away, and it was a surprise thing as well. Like,
was it the Wednesday?
It was a Wednesday.
It was the next night then.
A stand-up night.
He was on the next night.
A more successful podcast than this. Well, we've not put any out yet.
It's fun now.
Aye. So far,
mate. Well, we don't put any out yet, so it doesn't matter. Well, we have, by the time this is out, we're done. Right, just anyway.
I've been listening to Kevin Bridges' autobiography this week as well.
All right.
On Audible.
The original one.
It's We Need to Talk About Kevin Bridges.
It's good,
So just when you're talking about him at the stand, like just yesterday I've listened to the bit where he's like done his very first ever gig, which was at Red Raw. And there's bits, I think he done one with, was it in the Vault? I think he was talking about with Raymond Mearns, because he's talking about like, what do I do with my left hand while I'm holding a mic? And he was saying like he put it under his arm like that. And Raymond Mearns said to him, you need to know that it shows like your defence against the audience. You feel you need to defend yourself. And he was like, oh, that's good, I'll keep that in mind. But I've still noticed that even when I saw him, he still does it just as a sort of a stylistic thing. It was kind of leaning up against the wall, and that just, look, I didn't get that vibe of like trying to defend himself. Obviously now he's a master. But I just found it interesting that it was like Raymond said to him that
he does the wall lean thing quite a lot.
He was doing that in Blackfriars as well.
I think looks like proper cool, man. He's just just leaning, chatting away. But I'm sitting thinking, like, see if I leaned up against that, I'd probably phone Mars or something like that.
Aye, because in the book, I think I might have been at the gig. I was about then, just quite new, so I possibly, because I'd done the vault sometimes. And because apparently when they started, they done the stand, and they thought, fucking hell, I can do this. This is a piece of piss. And then they done the vault south side of Glasgow, died in his hole.
Aye.
Really?
And then he was like, I'm giving this up, never doing it again. He was like ignoring calls for the stand to book him again after he died the first time.
But it was Raymond Nairns that says the shitholes are where you actually learn. You can do the stand because the stand's perfectly laid out and it's 150 people out. It's perfect for comedy. Shite comedians could go in there and do well, but then you get into a place like the vault. But I don't think it exists anymore. You get to a wee shithole where you're talking about that old guy that fucking tried to fucking attack you.
I'm sure he was a lovely old guy. I'm sure he was lovely.
So you get to a place like that, a Paul Perry with the Hibs casuals, get to a place like that and make that work, then that makes the big gigs easier.
Aye.
Because I've gigged with people that have they've only ever done the stand.
Aye.
And they kind of go, fucking, I'm good at this. But then
it's a kind room, innit?
It's like only ever fly in business class, isn't it?
It's a kind room. It's a kind room.
And then they come to the junkyard in Hamilton where there's 7 people there. And they're fucked, Some of the people disinterested. And they go, shit, man, they don't know what they're doing.
That was our gig in Hamilton at the junkyard. That was it. The football was on that night.
Was there football on that night? Aye.
Scotland was playing.
Was that night?
Aye. Probably wasn't a great night.
Was that night where the Scotland were playing and the game got postponed?
It was late after.
Georgia. We played Georgia.
So aye.
It was raining.
Managed to get some in later on, but they didn't seem happy about having to come in.
I think I was on last that night. The time I was on, there was only 2 people left.
And one of them was you?
One of them was me. So most of the community, because it ran late, I think I might be wrong, but because it ran late, everybody had to go get trains and shit. So the time I was on, there was 2 audience members left and maybe 2 comedians. And I had to do 20 minutes. It was alright though, but
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I'm going to black cat you there actually. I did a gig on Friday in Paisley. And we started with 2 audience members, and it turns out it was one of the acts, Granny and Grandad, and then he was on, and we had a break, and they left during the break, so we then literally had no audience members.
Fucking hell, man.
But it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and the wee guy's Granny was pretty tidy, man. So
fuck's sake, man.
Good getting a wee swatch.
Aye. So you're just saying that a comedian's granny is like.
I told him in like the WhatsApp, the group chat after it. I was like, look, just fucking pass on my warmest regards to your granny, and if at any point it seems as though she's getting sick of dear sweet old grandad, he's a wee nod, you know what I mean?
Take a wee Weller's original off her.
Aye. I do like the smell of talcum powder.
So as well as doing ultra running, he's a bit of a granny shagger as well, right?
I do like a granny shagging joke. That's kind of my thing. Just flirting with old people, man. I like flirting with old people.
So back to the ultra running thing. So what's your training? What training do you do?
It depends on the race.
You can have run regular every week. You can have a running.
Aye. I mean, it's like a religion. You know what I mean? It's like it's like a religion. But it just depends on the race.
The priest doesn't pump you after.
Again, man. I was an altar boy, man, and I was like an altar boy in like the 90s.
That's what was that.
And I was in the Scouts, and I've been on children's TV, man, and during the 90s, and nobody ever came near me.
I was the same, mate.
As an adult, I feel very rejected now. Man.
That's why we became comedians.
Honestly, man.
I was a lovely wee blonde thing and all.
That's the thing. I was a cute wee boy, man, which means my personality must have been fucking stinking. I must have just been a wee arsehole.
I've got to develop
to become a comedian. That was it, man. My self-esteem, my ego's taking a batter in my 40s here, man, every time a big scandal comes out. But what did you ask about there? A normal week's training, man. It just depends on the race. So in September there, I was doing like a 36 mile mountain race in Tennessee.
Is that it? Is that all? 36 miles?
36
You're a lazy
miles.
bastard.
It was a wee short one.
That's a short one for you, isn't it?
I was doing that in Tennessee in the heat. So like my training was kind of all focused around that. Like, each week I was trying to hit about 60 to 70 miles, and I was trying to get about 10,000 foot up and down.
Right.
And you're basically just conditioning yourself to what you're doing. But
I should do a lot of hill runs for that then.
You want to get your quads and your hamstrings all nice and strong for going up and down, and just conditioning yourself to what the train's going to be and what the race is going to be. But as soon as I was finished that one, I had to start training for this one I've got in January, which is longer, and you're carrying
37 miles,
268.
Fucking hell.
Aye, 268.
So when's that, January?
I think it's the middle weekend of January.
So where's
it starts
that
on
one?
Sunday. It starts in Edale, which is, I think it's round about Sheffield.
Oh, right.
And then there's the Pennine Way, which goes up the spine, the middle of England, through all the hills and stuff. And then you get
man.
You cross the border into Scotland at Yetholm. I can never pronounce that. Yetholm, I don't know. And you basically run from Sheffield up the middle of England to Scotland.
So how long will that take?
You've got
Chris, you want to like the day, like just go out and do a 250 mile run?
Can't be arsed driving 207 miles.
Yeah, you've got a week. A week's the time limit.
Right.
But like I've had a crack at it twice before, and the first time I smashed my shin on a big cobblestone, and split it open.
There's a lot of hills and stuff in it.
It's not a super hilly race. No, it's not a huge amount of elevation relative to most of the races. It's just that the Pennine Way is just a notorious shithole. It's like pure muddy slop fest during the summer, and the whole idea of the spine is that it's meant to be Britain's most brutal. So the time of year, January, the route they've picked, the time of year, everything about it is all designed that it's meant to be the toughest race in the UK, and it probably is. But the first time I done it, I smashed my shin, split it open, and then the second time
so you didn't finish it then?
No.
Right.
It was my first DNF, first race I ever DNF, did not finish. And so I was then doing it the next year, and I was running with a pal of mine, and I was telling him the story because we were on the same bit of the trail. I was telling him the story about what I did and how I done it and where I did it, and that he should be careful. And while I was telling him the story, I then smashed my shin on the cobblestone.
Again?
I fucked it. And it was almost the exact same point of the race that happened. It might have been.
Same stone.
And it was almost the exact same point of the race that I managed to get like another 12 hours on it overnight or something like that. And then it was just...
Did you not finish it then that time, no?
DNF'd it again. Aye. So this year I've actually...
So you've not finished it yet, that one?
No, I've not finished it.
Right.
But and that's what I was saying to you about the marathon time. Like maybe that sub-4 marathon, it might be this time, it might be next time. But what you can do is just get to like, all right, I didn't do it this time, so ones and zeros, yes and no, black and white. It's about getting there at some point.
But even that level of fitness is good for you anyway.
Aye. And so, do you know what? See, they two races actually, and it was my first and only DNF, and then my second DNF. But it was two of the most favourite races. It was brilliant. The Pennine Way and the Spines are fucking brilliant. So you're doing that
again this year?
I'm doing it in January, aye.
There's one of the things that's in your head, you've got to do it, you've got to finish it at some point.
I says I'm going to do it, so I'm going to fucking do it.
I was going to say similar, it's nothing like that. So I asked a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I decided I wanted to do a Land's End to John O'Groats walking.
Right, okay.
Right, and but so it was like a fuck it moment. Mm-hmm. I think it was, sometimes with a fuck it moment, you do it because do you ever feel stuck in your life? You're kind of bored, you're like, fucking hell, everything's the same every day. I was like,
I think you need something to move towards. You need to feel as though you're making progress.
So sometimes pushing away from something as well helps. So but I wanted to do it, so I was like, fuck it, I wanted to do Jack Land's End to John O'Groats, and I was going to do gigs on the way. So I made a plan, a route. So it's like 2 years ago, I think. So I made a route from Land's End to John O'Groats. I booked some gigs, and I went down, and I didn't have much money. I had some money. I took a tent, I took my gear, and I'd booked some gigs on the way. So my plan was, on the way, I'll make enough money doing the gigs to kind of pay for my accommodation stuff. And I had this kind of rucksack. So I'd done about 80 miles, right? And I'd done a few gigs. I was walking. But the last day, I was walking, and there was a hill. I was walking to this campsite. It was like, the hill was 2 miles. 2 mile hill. It took me like an hour and a half to walk up this hill. My feet were fucked at that point. Right, and I got into my tent, and I had to get into town to get some food down the hill again, but I didn't have the bags. It took me ages. My feet were fucked, and I could have. And at that point, I decided to give up. Right, And it wasn't just because I was fucked, because my money was running out. So I hadn't planned. If I had enough money with me, I'd have went, right, okay, let's just rest for a couple of days, I'll be fine. Because I would have been. But I was like, shit, I hadn't planned ahead. I didn't have enough money. I've got my mortgage to pay back home. I probably just had enough to get a bus up the road and maybe stay in a couple of places the way up the road. I'm like, okay, fuck it, I just need to give up. But it was like, I felt kind of good that I'd done that, and it's still on my bucket list. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to plan ahead, make sure I've got enough money to live on, and maybe get somebody to transport my stuff, because it was carrying the bags that fucking killed me. And but there was a point the first night, because everybody thought, you're fucking mental. Do you ever get that? Because you do. But you're a fucking lunatic. You get kind of normal society.
You need to be conscious of who you're talking to sometimes, I think.
So I remember though, the first night, like I got to Land's End and I stayed in a campsite, and my tent was a shithole, right? It was like it was like, I couldn't even, like, I'm only 5'8", right? Maybe 5'7", I've maybe shrunk. And I couldn't lie straight along. I had to lie diagonally in it.
It's a wee tent.
It was a wee tent.
Jeez, oh.
So it was a wee tent, right? And I remember, and I had to wear. It was freezing, right? It was. I think it was June, but it was still freezing. And I was in my tent, all my like an extra jacket on and all that, lying in my sleeping bag. And I hadn't even started the run yet, right? I was lying there. My tent was fucking battering about. And I parked my tent. I went into town to do a gig, which got cancelled, by the way, that night. I never got enough people, so that didn't happen. But then I got a run back to where my tent was, and I remember lying there. It was a Saturday night, and I was lying there freezing and fucking cold, and all my clothes on, and my tent was fucking battering about. And I was on the way back. I was like, I'm going to go back here. My tent, it was windy as fuck as well. My tent's probably not going to be there anymore. I just had this vision of my tent uprooting and fucking off, and I was going to be just lying in the grass all night. And I get back and I get in my tent, and it was battering about, and I was going to like, there's people that I know that are in the pub back in Glasgow some night, nice and warm, having a pint. I'm here freezing my balls off, and my tent was battering about. But at that point, I fucking laughed my head off. I've never felt so alive in all my life, man. It was just like, this is fucking mental. But I felt because I'd done it, I was like, fucking, here I am with a freezing tent. I just remember at that point laughing my head off.
I think sometimes the achievement's just been brave enough to give the boys to do something.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
So I'd done a week, and it was brilliant. I met some cool people. So it's still on my list. Next year I maybe do it. I need to plan ahead, make sure I make enough money that I can actually go and maybe stay in Airbnbs and like tent a few nights, but have some kind of transportation, because it was the bags that killed me. So I reckon I could have done it with somebody who's carrying my bags as well. But it was carrying this bags for like 15 miles a day.
Well, that's the thing. See, like you were saying, like, how do you train for these races? Like, so for the one I'm doing in January, like, you need to carry a bag the whole way. You've got a huge compulsory kit list, and I think it's about 8 kilos or something.
Right.
About 7
That's your very lightweight rucksack and all that, aye.
So 8 kilos of 268 miles adds up. So see, as soon as I was done with my mountain race in Tennessee, it was like I then, it's just like big bag wankery, just running and walking with this bag on all the time. And it's about conditioning your body.
Aye.
So like if you were planning to do that in a year's time, like I'd be going out and walking about and moving about with a bag of the weight on your body now, because it's a big difference.
Oh fuck! I was because I felt like I'd done like a few years ago. I decided to do like 500 kilometres walk in March a few years ago. Done a wee charity thing. I was just after the pandemic or something like that, and I just wanted to go out. I wasn't fit enough for running at that point, and I was out. I just walked 500. It was like 16 kilometres a day or something I had to do. It's quite a lot. Like if you're doing it every day while you're working. And I found that a piece of piss, you know. So I think like if I'd done the walk without bags, it'd have been easy.
Aye.
But it was the bags that killed me, plus the lack of financial planning and stuff.
Aye.
But the fact that I went, fuck it, I've got like enough money to last me a few weeks. Let's fucking do it, see what happens. But then I failed. I went, it doesn't matter. The fact that I'd done it.
Aye.
I'd done it. It's just similar with you, with 260 miles. But the next time you'll probably do it.
No, hopefully.
Aye.
Somebody better move that
booked my train ticket this time.
Somebody better move that cobblestone this time.
I know.
Honestly, the irony was astounding. I was literally warning my friend, telling him, you need to check them, you need to this, And it was just this wee gap in the stones, and my foot went back down again.
Nah.
Right away, I knew, man. Right away. I didn't split it this time, but all swole up, and I'd like post-tib tendon thing and it got crushed and then I just couldn't flex my foot.
Fucking
But
hell.
like the first time, like I dragged it out and like I was just, by the time I actually pulled it, I was fucked. Like both my hamstrings were gone because I wasn't moving right. And I had all this weight on. Both my calves went, both my hamstrings went, and then my lower back went, and I just couldn't do anything. But this time, as soon as like my foot locked out, I just thought, right, fuck it, right, just die.
See, there's something brilliant about that, though. The fact that you've pushed this at a level where you're totally fucked, but you went. I bet you. How did you feel at the time when that happened? Were you gutted, or did you?
The first year, I was like tears. I was like tears. The second year, it was a lot more practical. You know what I mean? It was like there's, I literally know there's nothing I can do here. Like we like me and my pal, we kind of spitballed it, man. We're like, right, how far we got to go? We've got like right about 180 miles or something like that. Right, what we can do is we'll get some sticks and we'll get some tape. And we'll just like brace your foot and lock it and play it on. It was mad. We'd been awake for about 24 hours at this time.
I sure that you're like a manic.
Just crazy shite, man. But you get so invested in these things. You spent so much time and effort like building up to them. Like I've been in races at times and felt terrible and made a deal with myself. Like I will literally die here rather than quit. And it's mad, but it's just you put so much time and effort into it and you get so hyped up about them. And that wasn't any different. And like the ideas we were coming up with, like, we'll tape your foot and we'll fucking get sticks and fucking madness, man. For just because you've only got another 180 miles to go.
We'll just cut our legs off and drag ourselves up. We'll learn to walk in our hands and shit like that.
I got like a mile down the road and I was like walking on a flat tarmac road and like I couldn't fucking walk, man. I was like, I've got another 180 miles of the penny way to go, man. I've not even done the hard bits of it yet. Reality kicked in. Bye.
But I guess liberating that. It's fucking good for the soul. That. So, do you think you learn a lot for that for just normal life? If you're doing your running, you get a lot of lessons for it.
I think any of the lessons you learn anywhere are like, they're all the same, isn't they? It's all the same, innit? Less is more and all that. And I had like a period of like the whole fucking self-awareness, emotional intelligence thing and all that after a wee bit of a wobble. And like it kind of ran in parallel with the running. And what I found was everything I learned that made me a better athlete and everything that made me a wee bit more stable in life, they were totally interchangeable.
Totally,
I recommend like an athlete life or sports or some sort of kind of sporting pursuit to anybody. Like, because what it does is it challenges you, but it challenges you in a really safe, enjoyable environment. And then you learn the lessons, and if you're clever, you'll be able to just apply them to your life. Not everybody does, right enough. Not everybody does. You know, I know some people that are great at racing, but they're fucking shit at living.
Really?
Absolute maniacs.
Because I think like how I learnt I learnt the Rubik's Cube the other day, right? I'm not going to do it because it'll take ages. And you know what it's like when I learnt that, like, I wanted to do this years ago. Right? I think it's like anything, right? So so it took me like a few hours over the last couple of days, and I can now do the Rubik's Cube in about 5 minutes, right? So I think everything in life has got like an algorithm. So with that, there's an algorithm. You get the first bit. So you work out how do I get the first bit, right? How do I get the second bit, and what do I need to do the next bit? And I think that's the same as running, comedy, music.
Yep.
So with music, like to learn the guitar, you learn. So to become a good guitar player, you learn some chords. Yeah, what's the next bit? You learn some tunes.
Pick some tunes. Maybe start writing tunes.
You get some gigs. You learn how to work an audience. Blah blah blah. You get all this. Then all of a sudden you're Oasis. Right. So it's a comedy as well. You just learn how to feel confident in front of an audience. You learn what's the next bit. You learn how to write some jokes. You were saying that.
I think the first thing you learn in stand up, because it's a tough teacher, innit? I think the first thing you learn is how not to do it. You learn how not to do it.
You die your hole.
That's it.
Aye.
You need a couple of deaths, man. You need a couple of solid deaths. Learn how not to do it.
So I think everything in life's got an algorithm, right? So I'm writing a wee course, Chris, right? I'm going to do for the Patreon thing. It's called the fuck it process, right? So try to work it, make it a laugh, make it kind of thing. So the first thing you do, you decide what you want to do, say fuck it, you're going to do it. Then the next bit is work out how to do it. So see if I wanted to do like a 100 miler, I wouldn't ask Chris how to do it because he's never done it. So I say to you, right, Graham, I want to do 100 mile, or what do I need to do? Here's where I am, there's where I want to be, what do I need to do, how long do I need to go? Right, you need to get to this level first, then you need to get to that level, and then you need to get to that level. It's going to take you 2 years, 3 years. I go, all right, cool, let's do that. I don't think it stopped me is doing it. It's the same with comedy. You get good, you learn the basics, and then you do hundreds of fucking gigs. You do 2 years of gigging every day, or like gigging is often put off, then eventually you go, fucking hell, I can do this now.
I think that running's a bit weird, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier on. Like, people pull a pair of trainers on and they go and run in the local park, and they're like, that's shite, I don't like it, running's crap.
Aye.
Like, see everything else, like all the other things I've done, the things you're talking about there, like, people intuitively understand that they need to become a musician, or you need to become a comedian. Whereas, like, we're running, like, they pull a pair of trainers on, or they sign up for a 10k and they go and do it, and it's honking. And they've not even clicked that they have not become a runner.
Do you know what I mean? Effectively, like, picked up a guitar that's out of tune and went, that sounds shite.
I'm shite. I'm sure that's the kind of day. But and that's what you need to do with running. You know, you need to become a runner, and then that's when you reap the benefits, man. That's when you reap the benefits.
I just decide it's like you make it part of your identity.
You need to become. Have you ever heard that the 4 stages of competence? It's just when you were talking there. I quite like them. They're like, you get that first. It's like the unconsciously incompetent.
So shite at it,
but you don't realise how shite you are, and then you become consciously incompetent.
As you know why you're shite.
You're shite, but you realise you're shite.
So you're shite. You don't know you're shite, and then the second one you're shite.
So you don't know you're shite. You understand you're shite, and then you become consciously competent, where you're all right. And you realise you're alright, and then you become unconsciously competent, where you fucking you don't even think about it anymore. You don't even think about it anymore. So I like the 4 stages, man.
It's like music. Like when you started, you're probably a bit of shite, but then you come up and sing. You're just doing it.
It just feels natural now.
And I guess the same with comedy. Again, I started, I was shite. You learn how to do a wee bit, and then you get decent, and then eventually I could, like, if I do a gig now, I can do an hour and I know exactly what I'm doing. Well, sometimes I don't know what I'm doing, I just let it happen. It's just like, it becomes like channeling. It sounds
that's
weird.
Like see the acts that I really, really like, and I'm not blowing smoke up your arse, but it's kind of like yourself, Raymond Mearns.
Raymond's class, man.
Des McLean. See Des. Like see guys like that.
Des McLean.
He's literally just in the moment reacting to whatever's happening in the room, and it's just off the cuff. Like, if I was to choose what type of comedian I want to become, that's what I like. I like the stuff that's immediate and in the moment, rather than like I'm doing a really solid 10-minute set. Night after night after night. It's brilliant, it's hilarious, it's excellent. But I like that. It's relative to the moment, and and that's the kind of that's the ones that I really, really like, man.
It's kind of liberating. See, you just get a good crowd, brilliant. And you're just. It's a lot of it.
You're not even thinking about it, Nah. It's just somebody said something, and then it's just funny.
It's like
brilliant, man.
It's like what it's like. See this when you're in a good kind of zone. It's not really me that's doing it. It's a weird thing. It's just like it's like if I'm stepping that back and letting the kind of persona take over. So it's a weird thing. That's why. Do you know when people say like you're lucky you don't get this in music? You ever get people say music go sing us a song then?
I know what you mean.
You know, you got like, every time you meet somebody, tell us a joke, you're like, fuck off. And the reason we can't tell, we can't. So if I met you in the street, I didn't know you, I'd do a bit of comedy. You stand back and go, tell us a joke then. And the reason you can't is because the persona's not there. Because when you're on stage, this kind of persona takes over, and that takes years of kind of working on it. So if you ask me to do stand up now, I'll be like, fuck off. Like I'm doing a podcast now, and it's not really the comedy guy, whereas you give me 50 people on a microphone, it's a different kind of.
Do you not find, but sometimes in social situations you just hit that and it comes out and you're just like, that's it. I get that, man. I get that. Like you just hit like a wee. I'm being quite funny then. You know, I mean, not all the time, right enough, but now and again.
And that's the kind of. I do my comedy workshops, right? Get a plug in again for that again. And so I try and get people to get that, see that bit, because everybody's funny. Everybody's funny in certain situations.
At some point,
You're in your mates having a beer, and somebody just hits the part, and you're like, fucking hell, you're on fire tonight. So I get people coming to the workshop that their pals have told them they're funny, but then they go on stage, they're kind of go bit. So I try to get the guy that's funny with their pals on stage, which isn't that easy, but so there's a guy one night, one of my workshops on stage, he was kind of he was doing all right, but he kind of but then so he was there in front of like 12 people in the workshop, but then he stood at the back after it doing feedback stuff. So kind of feedback, I was kind of give them tips and stuff, but then at the back he just started being hilarious. And I was like, right, so you've moved like 5 yards and you're still standing. You're funnier there than you were 5 yards there. So what's the difference? So I want you to take that guy closer and closer until you get him on stage. So it's just getting that guy. I think that's becomes years of practice of doing it. You eventually get the guy that's funny on stage. So initially when you start doing comedy, you're not the funny guy on stage yet. You're not the funny guy with your pals, isn't he, on stage yet?
Aye.
But gradually he'll come up and go, right, the persona turns up eventually.
I think a lot has got to do with how quickly you become comfortable.
Oh, totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
See if you, and I think a lot of that comes to do with how many times you die in your arse early on. Like if you die too much in your arse early on, like it can put you off and make you nice and tense. But I think if you die in your arse just the right enough amount of times kind of early on, you get to a point you kind of like, well, actually, do you know what? Nothing bad's going to happen. And then you stop worrying about it.
Exactly.
You know?
It's you don't give a fuck. See when you get to a stage where you die in your hole and genuinely don't give a fuck. You die in your hole and you laugh your head off about it. And it took me a few years. I used to, if I died in my hole, I'd be fucking devastated. I'd be like, fucking hell. Like my whole personality, I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like all this dream that you had of doing stand-up, it just fucking hits you. You're a fucking loser. Look at you, you're making a cunt of yourself. Everything your parents told you, your teachers told you, your mates told you, they're all right. I'm a loser, I'm a fucking idiot. I'll hit you to Winston for a week, you're like, oh no, you draw your curtains, you don't want to go out. But eventually get to a point you don't give a fuck about that.
Aye.
And that's when it becomes kind of liberating.
I think in that first year or 2 years, you just need the right ratio of good gigs and shite gigs. Because there's the same thing, there's a thing with kids' sports, like if they lose too many times, like during the first 2 or 3 years, they end up with that mentality. Or if they win too many times, they're not resilient. And you need to, I think it's like a 30-70 kind of ratio. Where you need to lose, but you need to win. And you know what I mean? It just gives you that mindset and that mentality.
I used to, like, there was a couple of times, I remember when I started, I used to kind of deliberately go up to die in my hole just to get that experience.
Aye.
Well, I'm going to die in my hole tonight. And they went, what? I'm going to go up. Because it was just like
I've heard of people going to Edinburgh to have an intentionally difficult gig.
Because like, used to play in Glasgow.
See, in Glasgow, and I've heard people talking about it. I've actually heard people talking about it on the stage as well. Like in Glasgow, like you can not be having a great gig and then you just find some guy to tactics and you just your ma, you know what I mean? And that's it, man. You're like best pals in the world and everybody thinks it's great. But it's like if you're doing like a gig with like fucking 6 Tories for Edinburgh and like 5 people for Indonesia and then like a bunch of Americans, like, you know what I mean? It's and I've heard about people going to Edinburgh intentionally to get the more difficult gigs.
Oh, that's because I've done Edinburgh for years. I learned a lot.
Aye, I don't like it. I fucking hate it. I just want to crack your more jokes with that guy.
Get to Edinburgh, man.
That guy Feaster house in the crowd. You know
that's
what I mean?
You need to get your comfort zone, man.
Fuck
you can run 268 miles. And you go to Edinburgh.
I'll take easy wins with the stand-up, man. Any day of the week. Fuck, I've got no pride or ego, man.
Aye. Because it's definitely harder, like, work, because that's how I can go anywhere now, I think, because I've done Edinburgh and you get like Americans one night, loads of people from Spain.
Honestly, man,
and you need to slow down just enough to understand you and get the jokes a wee bit.
I did a bit through there one night on the Royal Mile and I didn't die in my arse, but it wasn't great.
That's still what I heard.
Aye, it wasn't the greatest gig, right? It wasn't really enjoyable, man. I kind of got through it and then But I had 2 gigs that night. It's the only time I ever doubled up. And I jumped in a car and I drove through to Glasgow. And I did a gig in the Griffin. And there was only a few people in. But there was a lassie sat in the front row. And I literally had to stop and say, "Are you all right, hen?" because like her breathing and her tears and all that, she was just fucking buckled, man. And then like an hour before that, I'm in Edinburgh, man, just looking at all these fucking Filipinos and Americans and you know what I mean, and like fucking.
Was it like the same set you did back to back as well?
It was exact same, man. I've got some lassies like choking on her own air.
But you learn to be more kind of
the differences.
You learn to be more universal. Rather than just doing Glasgow stuff, when you're in Glasgow, you can do more.
See,
I'm
quite happy with that because, like, because I'm only in it I just have fun and I genuinely enjoy going and talking shite to people. And so, just see if I just need to go up to Glasgow every night and do that, and it's easier. I'm fine with that, man.
Then you might reach a point after a few years, though, if you've mastered the art of cracking those kind of jokes in Glasgow, and you might be like, I want more. I need more.
I think it's if you want something for comedy or you want to achieve something, you need that broader. Talent, but you're that broader ability, didn't you? Right, but like if you're just
so basically you're just doing it for fun then. So
shit and giggles, man. That's how I couldn't really tell you how long I've been doing it or how many gigs I've done. I am literally just doing it just for a bit of fun, man.
That's cool, man. It's a good social thing as well, though, isn't it?
I think you meet. It's a bit like the running, man. Like you meet some very, very fucking interesting people, man. Some very, very interesting people. You know, there's a lot of ultra running's the same, and it's very similar to comedy.
There's a lot of fucked up people. So
there's a lot of broken wing birds in comedy and ultra running, man.
So there's more fucked up people in ultra running than comedy.
I think it's a fucking dead heap, man. There's a lot of and it's mad, man. Whereas like the amount of people you meet in ultra running, the amount of people you meet in stand up, that they're driven to do great things by bad experiences, which. Fuck it, you know what I mean? I think that's maybe it's maybe a wee bit more a painful journey, but it's probably better than being bored and mediocre and you know what I mean?
Is that similar to music, Chris? You think that there's like a lot of fucked up people doing music? Are they more together people?
There's certainly some from either side. I wouldn't say it's like every person you meet has.
Because I think as with musicians though, a lot of posh parents.
I was going to say, like, I'm not going to say I was forced into it, but just kind of naturally, like, my whole family play music and it just kind of came to me as well. So I don't have, like, a sad backstory of why I do music.
I've always thought, like, musicians were just kind of creepy and in it for the roadies and that. The groupies. The groupies, that's the roadies. And then for the roadies, man.
And then for the guy setting up the speakers.
Chris has brought you into his house, you've just called him a creep.
I don't know, if I was wanting to be super creepy, I think I'd become a magician. That's where it seems to be.
Well, that's all they kind of dodgy.
Saying that, be Russell Bland, he's flying a flag for comedy, isn't he, man? Russell's flying a flag for comedy. Creeps,
Bill Cosby.
That's it, man,
Bill Cosby, who else was there?
Oh, I don't know.
That's it,
Aye, Bill and Russell, aye.
Louis C.K. was chugging in front of female comedians and all that as well.
Oh, really?
Aye. Do you know about that, Louis C.K.?
I've never understood that. Like, if you're going to be a creepy dude and you're just like, I'm going to knock one out in front of people.
Nah, I know.
Like,
so look, if Louis C.K. I'm going to get Louis C.K. on the podcast.
Oh, I might need to run that one past the owner of the house.
As long as, like, Louis, you can come and do it as long as your hands are above the table at all times.
I don't even know who that dude is.
Do you know Louis C.K.?
No idea, man. He's just like some creepy.
He's one of the best. Have you ever seen Louis C.K.?
He is great, aye.
He's a phenomenal comedian.
Just a bit handsy.
He's still touring and he fucked. He's just fucked it, but he's phenomenal. If you watch some of his comedy's brilliant. He's like funny as fuck. And it's all very general. It's all very simple stuff in it.
Kind of simple observational stuff. Like it was before all that came out. It was like probably one of the biggest in America at the time.
It was worth tens or hundreds of millions probably. And somebody mentioned, he had a wank in front of me once. Fucking.
I think it was more of a case of I'm going to have a wank and he pressured her to stay and watch type thing.
I know. I think it's maybe a power thing. He was like, I'm a big name.
That's what it was.
It's a power. It's just fucking.
Weird, man.
Anyway, so what have we done, Chris, man?
Nearly an hour and a half.
Another half, man. We better fucking wrap up, man, because it's like we try to keep it no too long. Like we usually, the first few was just an hour.
Last few have been an hour and a half just because we've been going through our lists and whatnot.
The last couple were an hour and a half. So I think we'll kind of finish up. I think we don't want to finish on Louis C.K. but wanking.
Right.
Right, so what would you think? So what would you get advice would you give somebody? See, like somebody that wants to do ultra running, or like anything. So somebody that wants that's got big goals. For me, right, see, like if I want to do, I'm training for the marathon. If I want to do further than that, what do I need to do? Like, what would you advice would you give to me? Say I want to do. Say I want to do so. Next year I'm going to do a marathon again, right? So see if I wanted to do a 50 mile or the following year, what would my kind of thing be?
This is literally just for you now, isn't it, John?
I
know, so many listeners in this position.
No, but it kind of applies to anything.
I think and it kind of just goes back to what I was saying, like, and it does apply to anything. See whatever you want to do, like, before you set a goal, or draw a line in the sand that you're going to base success or failure on.
So fuck it, I'm going to do this.
But become that thing first. Do you know what I mean? Like nobody's like, right, I want to be a boxer, and then they go to a gym and just start fucking sparring Mike Tyson or Tyson Fury. You know what I mean? Like,
I want to batter you and McGregor.
Go to a gym.
A very clever
technique. There you go.
Go to the gym and get battered off Obi-Wan Kenobi. So take appreciate that you need to take the time and effort to become what you want to be, and then see if you went through that journey of becoming whatever you want to be, then get yourself a point like, right, okay, I am consciously competent at this now, and then set yourself some goals and targets, because if you set yourself goals and targets early on before you've become, all you're going to just do is frustrate yourself and end up with a lot of bitterness and resentment, and you're just going to end up scunnered, you know. Unless you're phenomenally naturally talented, that you're just going to fucking hate it. But if you want to build up your running, and I kind of says it earlier on, the very best thing you can do is start slow and start small and start just really, really patient and focusing on consistency. And not even just like consistency across like a year or 2 years or 3 years, but consistency across like a run. Like you're saying, like, I can run the first 3K and then I'm walking for the last hour. Like, go for a 3K run and run it to a point that you don't feel fucked by the end of it. And if you want to go for a walk for an hour after that, then that's fine. And then the next couple of weeks, once you're comfortable with that, build it up. 4K, 5K, don't run it any faster. Don't worry about times. Don't worry about paces. Just slowly build it up.
I'm finding there's like wee gains. There's just wee simple gains.
Is it Mark Brailsford, is it? The guy who like turned around the Sky cycling team or something? Like Sir Max. His wee thing is 1%. And it is that, like, it's when you start off anything, right? Like your growth is like exponential, and then you get to that point, you kind of plateau, and it's all about the 1%. But actually, see if you don't concentrate on that exponential growth, if you just try and kind of ease yourself into something, enjoying the journey as you go along, then that's it, man. You'll become whatever it is that you want to become, and you'll enjoy it, and you'll have learned a lot along the way, man.
There's a wee bit that I do. I know my regular run, but through Moodiesburn. And so do the hills, the starts do the hill, which is good. Then it's along a wee bit. And when I was starting to run again in June, there was a bit I got to where I was fucked. And that was but then I went, right, that's my goal. So I maybe get to that a few weeks, and I felt comfortable there. And then there was a wee bit further along. I went, all right, I can get to there now, comfortable. And now I'm kind of running past that bit, and I'm fine. I'm running past that bit, and I'm fucking a good bit on now. So I know now that I can do that quite comfortable at a good pace. So I'm just trying to increase that until I can do it like the full, like there's a full kind of 5K bit. I can't quite do a full 5K yet, but I'm no far away from it. You know, so I could get to this bit. All right.
But again, don't draw any lines in the sand, man. Just like, see, once you get to a point you can run for that 5K and you're comfy, that will come when it comes. Do you know what I mean? Just don't draw any lines in the sand.
See, I'm all right, mate. I'm not kind of going, I can't do that yet. What's wrong with me? As long as I know that I'm getting slightly that 1% better every couple of weeks or something.
Progress. It's important to feel as though you're making progress. You're not feeling as though you're stuck, man.
I'm quite happy with it. And I enjoy the running. Even the days when I'm fucked, I can't even do that wee bit. I still went out and done my run today. It's still a bit.
It's that wee sense of achievement, isn't it? It's like that American fucking Army, Navy guy or whatever he was saying, like, make your bed first thing in the morning. You feel as though you've achieved
Goggins.
No. It was like some high.
Did you get Goggins?
I've not got the button yet. Next week.
No.
Is there a Goggins thing? Is there?
I'm going to a bit like the Peter Griffin. I'm going to have a Goggins button that goes, "Who's going to carry the boats?"
Who's the guy you're talking about?
It was just like one of these viral clips, man. It was, I think he was doing like one of the leaving college speech type things. And his advice was make your bed. And it was basically you got up in the morning, you've made your bed. As soon as you got up, you've went and achieved something. And like that, the running's the exact same thing. Like I like to run kind of earlier on because like you get up in the morning, you go for a wee run, and right away, man, you've planned something, you've executed it. Do you know what I mean? And it gives you that wonderful feeling. Mix that in with your caffeine and your post-run endorphins, man. You're buzzing for the rest of the day, man. So
make your bed.
And go for a run.
Righto.
Go for a run. I will finish on there.
That'll do.
It was good.
That was good.
Can people find you on social media and whatnot for your?
Don't worry about that.
No,
I'm worried.
Do you not put your comedy up or anything?
Nah,
Graham doesn't give a fuck about his comedy. I like that attitude though. I like that attitude. When you said that in my head, I was going, but you need goals. Like, no, you don't. Do you fuck? You're happy with that.
You enjoy yourself, man.
You're enjoying yourself.
You need to have fun.
Who might impose my goals of comedy on you? Who gives a fuck?
Fucking horrible prick.
No, I mean, no, I'm saying that. I'm saying that because I mean that.
I'm not doing that.
No, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
I'm kidding you on.
But anyway, that's been good, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you, mate. That was episode 6, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. 6.
And I've learned. So the last time my first look at this was learning the Rubik's Cube.
Yep. I've not dug mine out. In fact, as you were talking about it, I ordered one. So there's one coming tomorrow. So when we record next week's episode, we'll have a race.
Why have you no challenged him to put doing a 5-minute open?
No, we have.
Oh, you?
Aye.
So you're going.
So when did the fucking list?
Right, aye.
He's doing my workshop in January.
Right,
and I'm going to learn a tune.
Right, that seemed very odd. I was surprised that wasn't it.
No,
it's got to happen.
It's on the list.
That was our first thing.
Aye,
the first kind of list we did on it.
I don't know yet.
Right.
He's judging me.
I'm
just curious. I'm just
I don't know.
asking.
I'll work out. Probably Oasis or something. I don't know. But I'll get advice for this guy.
One of the classics.
Aye. So anyway, we'll finish on that. So follow us on social media.
Yep, all the usual links.
And if you get any questions, what was the
obiepodcast@gmail.com. Send in some questions and stuff about your list.
And follow me on Facebook or that Obie Comedian. And if you're coming to, I'm doing the Fuck It List tour. I should have loads of gigs lined up. I'll put links somewhere. I should have plugged that at the start. But we're only learning this shit. We're becoming competently incompetent at the podcast. We're doing all right. But other than that, thanks for listening, watching, or whatever. Follow us, send us any questions, and I'll see you later. Cheers, Graham.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.